I have to have this, like I have to read this. Someone at the library did not treat this very well. Don't tell Ben, but you know, I love that Scottish accent. I can't speak today, man. I'm stumbling over my words. Hello, I'm Beth Joey and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. This is the channel where I paint my face, turn my camera on and talk about some books. I think I'm genuinely addicted to getting new books at the moment because I have absolutely stacked it up in terms of the library books that I've borrowed. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish any of these anytime soon. In my mind, it makes me think that I own a lot of books, which is just what I want. I love my collection. But anyway, I thought it might be a good way to, one, hold myself accountable, to run you through my book haul recently from the library. So let's get stuck into it. First up is one that if you've been watching my videos for a while, you will not be surprised by at all, and that is Tower of Dawn by Sarah J Maas and Kingdom at Vash by Sarah J Maas. These are both books that are part of my big Sarah J Maas reread that I'm doing at the moment. They are the only books in the Throne of Glass series that I haven't actually read yet. I'm about halfway through this one. Well, not even halfway. I'm 100 pages into this one. Really actually enjoying it. Very surprised by that. If you're not already aware what the Throne of Glass series is about, it follows Selena Sardothian, who is an assassin in the land of Aurelia. We start the series and she's at a prison camp in Endovia until one day the prince and the captain of the guard come and rescue her from this prison camp and give her the opportunity of a lifetime to participate in a competition to become the king's champion. So naturally she goes to court, gets wrapped up in all sorts of rebel plot lines, love triangles, all that sort of thing, rebellion. It's amazing. Really loving this series and how much it's expanding and how many characters there are now and how I'm in love with just about every single one of them. So those are the first two books. The next book I picked up from my library is Mythos by Stephen Fry. This is a book my brother actually suggested to me, one, because he loves Stephen Fry, and two, because I mentioned to him once that I was going into a bit of a Greek mythology retelling sort of kick, and he said Stephen Fry does some really great sort of retellings of really famous Greek myths. As for what it's about, I am going to read you the blurb because I have no idea. I picked this up purely on a whim, and it says, "No one loves and quarrels, desires and deceives as boldly or brilliantly as Greek gods and goddesses. In Stephen Fry's vivid retelling, we gaze in wonder as wise Athena is born from the cracking open of the great head of Zeus and follow doomed Persephone into the dark and lonely realm of the underworld. We shiver when Pandora opens her jar of evil torments and watch with joy as the legendary love affair between Eros and Psyche unfolds. Mythos captures these extraordinary myths for our modern age in all their dazzling and deeply human relevance." So I guess this is a compilation of a number of myths, which I'm pretty happy with. And in that vein, I also picked up Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. This is one of those books that I've been hearing it talked about all over BookTok, BookTube, everywhere quite a while back. Decided I had to pick it up and then never actually got around to reading it, so I went and re-picked it up from my library a couple weeks ago. And as for what it's about, it says, Piranesi lives in the house, perhaps he always has. Then messages begin to appear, scratched out in chalk on the pavements. There is someone new in the house, but who are they and what do they want? Lost texts must be found, secrets must be uncovered. The world that Piranesi thought he knew is becoming strange and dangerous. The beauty of the house is immeasurable, its kindness infinite. So I mean, that blurb tells me nothing, which I absolutely love. And it's also a little baby book, which is always good because there are some chonkers in this pile. And for my last book on that sort of Greek mythology theme, I picked up Greek Myths by Robert Graves. This is one I think Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction recommended as the sort of book you should pick up if you're looking to expand your knowledge of Greek myths. And so I decided to grab it. It's a bit of just a rundown of each of the myths and their history and their origins and that sort of thing. So it's very much a like non-fiction texts rather than any sort of retelling. Then I decided to pick up a bunch of mystery, thriller, horror, those sorts of things, and the first of which is The Girl Who Survived by Lisa Jackson. This is not one that I know very well, but it's one that apparently I've heard is really good. As for what it's about, it says, "How many times can you get out alive? All her life, Cara McIntyre has been the girl who survived, orphaned at age 7 after the brutal massacre of her family. Now, 20 years later, the past has come thundering back. Her brother Jonas, who was convicted of the murders, has unexpectedly been released from prison. The press is in a frenzy again, and Cara feels vulnerable. When she starts receiving cryptic messages from her estranged big sister warning her of danger, she is shocked. She hasn't heard from Marley since she disappeared after that deadly night all those years ago. As people close to her start to die in horrible deaths, Cara is sure she's next. She survived once, but can she do it again?" I really love that whole like final girl side of things, and I think this will definitely have those vibes. So I'm excited to read this. I also picked up The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware because I wanted to give Ruth Ware a second chance. I didn't love One by One by her, so I heard that maybe maybe this one would be something I'd like a bit more, because One by One is a sort of outlier in terms of the sorts of things that she's writing. As for what The Turn of the Key is about, it says, when Rowan stumbles across the advert, it seems like too good an opportunity to miss. A live-in nanny position with a staggeringly generous salary. And when she arrives at Heather Bray House, she is smitten by the luxurious state-of-the-art home, by the beautiful Scottish Highlands, and by this picture-perfect family. What she doesn't know is that she's stepping into a nightmare, one that will end with a child dead and her in a cell awaiting trial for murder. Writing to her lawyer, she struggles to explain the unraveling of events, the constant surveillance cameras, the malfunctioning technology, the girls whose behaviour is a far cry from what it was at her interview. Rowan knows she's made mistakes, but she maintains she's not guilty, at least not of murder, which means someone else is. I'm hoping that this will make me like Ruth Ware more than I'd have in the past. The next book I picked up because I have heard so many people talking about it, and I recently found out that it's actually mixed media as well, which tells me that it's probably going to be something that I'm gonna love, and that is Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. So I mean, look at all that like mixed media, all those dark pages. I think this is going to be a super quick read. As for what it's about, it says the year is 2575 and two mega corporations are at war over a planet that's little more than an ice-covered speck. Too bad nobody thought to warn the people living on it. With enemy fire raining down on them, Ezra and Katie have to make their escape on the evacuating fleet. But their troubles are just beginning. A deadly plague has broken out on one of the spaceships and it is mutating with terrifying results. Their ship's protection is seriously flawed. No one will say what is going on. As Katie hacks into a tangled web of data to find the truth, it's clear only one person can help her, Ezra. And the only problem with that is they split up before all this trouble started, and she isn't supposed to be talking to him. I don't know, I think this is going to be really interesting, and I'm really fascinated to see how the story is like told through all this different type of media. In the fantasy romance kind of realm, I picked up Castles in Their Bones by Laura Sebastian because I saw Laura Sebastian speak at Yelk, and she was speaking about this book, and I was like, right, I have to have this, like I have to read this. As for what it's about, it says, never trust a pretty face. Empress Margaret has had plans for her daughters since the day they were born. Princesses Sophronia, Daphne, and Beatrix will be queens, and now, age 16, they each must leave their homeland and marry their princes. Beautiful, smart, and demure, the triplets appear to be the perfect brides because Margaret knows there is one common truth: everyone underestimates a girl, which is a grave mistake. Sophronia, Daphne, and Beatrix are no innocents. They have been trained since birth in the arts of deception, seduction, and violence with a singular goal: to bring down monarchies, and their marriages are merely the first stage of their mother's grand vision to one day reign over the entire continent of Vestria. I can't speak today, man, I'm stumbling over my words. The princesses have spent their lives preparing and now they are ready, each with her own secret skill and each with a single wish pulled from the stars. Only the stars have their own plans and their mother hasn't told them all of hers. Life abroad is a test. Will their loyalties stay true or will they learn that they can't trust anyone, not even each other? After reading and loving Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore, I then picked up the two follow-ups, which are A Rogue of One's Own and Portrait of a Scotsman from the library, and I'm super excited to pick these up. These are a series following women, I think in like Victorian era London, and it's just all about extraordinary women sort of stepping out of the shell and the box that they're put in and, you know, really being rebellious, or sorry, there's construction noise in the background, and then they're finding love. And yeah, it's a super fun series. It's fairly long for a romance, but I genuinely did feel when I read Bringing Down the Duke that one, it read so fast, and two, everything in there, like I wouldn't remove anything. Everything in there felt so important to the plot, and there were sort of two plots running alongside each other where you had the romance and then the sort of women's suffragette movement on the other side. I'm really excited to pick up the rest of the series because I really did love that first book, and I'm going to Scotland soon, so maybe I'll pick this one up soon so I can bring this to Scotland. So there are 12 books in that pile, so I am not going to attempt to hold them all up for you because my arms would probably collapse under the weight, but those are the 12 books I've got from the library recently. I'm probably gonna have to return a lot of them before I've actually read them. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books, which one you think I should read first, if you've heard about any of them and were just absolutely floored by the story. Come and chat to me in the comments down below. I really want to know your recommendations. I love talking to you guys and I do my best to reply to every single comment. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do let me know by liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell all down below. It is a super easy way to help my channel grow, and I will see you lovely people in my next video. Bye!